Okay, so how do we do this? How do we set up a field data sheet that logs numeric values and the date it was opened and the date and time it was closed, which indicates how long that QC check took? How do you set that up on your phone so you could fill it out on your phone at the site and then have the data automatically go into an Excel file and then automatically expand the axes on this chart and enabling only one person to have to hand enter the data because this is really prone to errors. Okay, so there's a few extra steps because I am doing this video for people who don't have already Microsoft 365. So I need to set up a free account. So the first thing I'm going to do is I always open up a new incognito window in whatever browser I'm in, so it doesn't ask me to go back to my other account if you have one. So I open up a new incognito window and I just type in Gmail, and I'm going to actually set up an alternate Gmail account for myself as my alter identity, itep4quaps@gmail.com. And then once I've got this, then I've got an email to accept and confirm that when I sign up for the free outlook.com email. So I sign up for the free outlook.com by typing in free Outlook and then setting up a brand new account. Now it's going to ask you to log in if you already have an account. I already do. I set up a new account as itep4quaps.com, which is totally free.
But Outlook offers these forms as one of their apps in addition to email. So if you go here to these app launcher square buttons, if you click there, you'll see all the apps, except you don't see forms usually. So I click all apps and then I scroll down to forms. And now I've already created a few forms testing this out, including this free field data sheet for QC for PM. So how do we make a new one? Well, you go to new form and it's really super easy to make a new form. So I'm going to make a new form now and I'm going to call it demo. And then you can type in the form description. This is my flow rate sheet. And then you start asking questions. And you've got choices of, is it a choice? Like if you have a list of site operators, for example, you want to make things as easy and repeatable for people as possible. So like a drop-down list, if you've got multiple site operators or if you've got multiple things that you might want to do at the site and then just check off those, or text. So I'm going to add a new question and I'm going to say purpose of site visit. And then I'm going to click this long answer, which means that they can type in a long paragraph. And I'm going to check required because it is important to say why you're at the site every time. And that's the first question. Now let's add another question and let's make it choice. And in this case, we're going to make it Melinda and Mike because we're the two site operators and nobody else should be doing this. And now that'll appear in a drop down and I'm going to make that required. Who is doing what that is logged on this sheet is important. I'm going to add another question and this time I'm going to make it text. Don't worry that this says text because when you import it into Excel, you can set it as number. So the flow rate indicated on analyzer, and we're going to make this required since this is the whole purpose of this visit, and they can answer in a number. What we can also do is make restrictions, so we can say we want it to be a number or we want it to be a number greater than, like it always has to be greater than 0, for example, or not between certain numbers, but we're just going to say it has to be a number. Value must be a number. So then when they fill out that form, they see that. Now we're going to add another, which we're going to say text, and now I'm going to say flow rate on standard. What does your handheld instrument say? I'm going to keep it required, and I'm going to make it a number is required also. So they can't write in I don't know, or whatever they want to write in. So now let's add a new one and let's make it this date. And what we want is for them to put in the date of the site visit. Now, what's cool about this is it also logs when they open this form in the field and when they close it, which effectively indicates what period of time that instrument is not gathering data. And if it's logging to somewhere, that's really useful to know so that you can invalidate if this takes longer than an hour or 75% of an hour, you should invalidate this hour. So I'm going to type in date of site visit just to have this as a date here, and it's required. And because we specified a date field, it says please input date. And that's it. Now we're ready to go. If you want to, you can make some coolo images here. Then you could identify if you've got different forms, like the flow rate is indicated by this background or whatever. So now how do you get this out to people? How do you get this out to Mike and Melinda, the site operators? So over here, you see collect responses. So if you click this, see and collect responses, you can copy the link in an email. But what I really love is the QR code. So you print this out and you tape it inside the instrument cover or in your logbook or on the back of your clipboard. And then when you want to open this form, you just point your phone at it and it will open up the form on your phone. So that's how you set up the form. Just a few more cool things to show you. You could preview it here. So you click preview and then it goes down and say, okay, start now. And then here it's got these questions. So click back here. So say now Mike and Melinda have been out in the field and we've done a bunch of stuff, or maybe it's even been a few weeks and we've been filling out these forms every time we go to the site. So what you do is you log back in to Outlook.com and you click on responses. And here you can see I have 0 responses so far. So this open in Excel button is grayed out. So let's look at the field data sheet that I have in the video. And this is another field data sheet, and you could see I have a lot more questions, and I even put in a picture here of a delta cal, and I have a description of what the sheet is supposed to do. So this is my form that I've already set up, and I could see that I've already got 10 responses. So I click over here on responses and now open in Excel. And what this does is every time you click on it, it opens up a new Excel file and it gives you the number of responses in parentheses that are included there, as you can see here. So I can click anywhere and say save. And now what I've got is the results of all these flow rate checks, including some temperature and barometric pressure checks, in an Excel file. So now let's take that Excel file. So every time you fill out the field data sheet on your phone, it automatically adds a row to this Excel file, and you don't want to mess with this Excel file. You're just going to leave this totally alone and have a separate file that automatically refreshes every time you open up this chart. And that's going to be in the next video.